All right, it's the end of November, there's snow on the ground, and we're in Eagle River, Wisconsin on our way to Trackside, and that can only mean one thing.
The new sleds are here, baby, and I see Trackside just up here around the corner.
So we're gonna swing in. We just got the call from Grant here at Trackside that the sleds are put together, they're ready to rock. So this is gonna be our first look at the Gen 5 skidoos, the production Gen 5 skidoos that is. So,
dude, I see them.
Yep, here we go.
Wowza.
Dang, these things look sweet.
Does anything beat just looking at a brand new chassis for the first time, like in the flesh?
No. So we have bought our sleds from Trackside here the last few years. We got to go in and take care of some of that paperwork, but we are super excited to have our hands on these things. These are the sleds that are going to be taking us on an epic adventure across North America this winter. We are making the move to Idaho in just about a week, and we're going to be basing out of there, hitting all kinds of destinations across North America this winter. So be sure to follow us along, you guys. We're going to be taking these sleds into some crazy places.
We're going to go do some paperwork, but then we're going to come back here and show you guys all the different features that they changed on these sleds. We're super anxious to get our hands on these and play around with them. We've had about 30 minutes of time actually riding one of these things. Last spring we got out, we had the opportunity to ride a Gen 5 with Jay Menaberry, which was super cool. We got to jump them, kind of put them through a little bit of the paces, but now we have the production models and we're going to take a look at them. So we're gonna go inside, do our paperwork, and then we'll come back out here and show you guys all the cool new features that we're stoked on these.
Heck yeah, so let's check out Trackside.
So if you're ever swinging through Eagle River, poke your head in at Trackside on your way up to the UP and grab some of our merch. If you haven't had the opportunity to do that online, they got it right here at Trackside. See how they're doing on the stock.
Got a bunch of new stuff, windbreakers, hoodies, and we'll have some new merch coming out in season this year, so keep an eye out for that too. All right.
It's official.
We just signed our lives away, like 21 grand. For these
Isn't that
puppies.
Unbelievable how much they've gone up in the last few years?
It is. One thing about us here at Boondock Nation, we buy all our sleds outright from the dealership. We've been getting our sleds from Trackside for the last few years, but we don't get a discount from the manufacturer on any of these things. We've chosen to just buy them like regular consumers so we can speak honestly about them, give you guys our clear opinion, and it allows us the flexibility to ride whatever we think's best. So I've got a Polaris coming as well in addition to this, and Dylan's got a Lynx shredder coming too.
Yeah, so that's kind of our vow to you guys. That's something that we've always stayed true to and will forever at Boondock Nation. We want to be able to play the field and ride the newest, coolest stuff. So this season it happens to be the Gen 5. So we're going to take a look at all these features and show you guys what we're all excited about on these new sleds.
Yeah, lots of changes here for 23, so let's get right into it. Getting into the screen here, this is my first look at it. All the phone features are located right here, so we'll have to link up our phones to try some of these. But my mind gravitated to the controls right away. I want to see what you can control. Looks like you can adjust the ratio between your thumb and handlebar grips as far as the heated grips go, so that's kind of cool. Polaris, on the other hand, has like the direct temperature that you could set your grips at. Under vehicle information here, you can see the VIN, the software number for this, all kinds. It looks like your iPhone settings, honestly. So lots to dig into here. As we discover new features, we'll be sure to share those with you. I've been jailbreaking iPods and iPhones since like iOS 3. So who knows where we go with this thing? Maybe get some Boondock Nation Plus up on there. But I'm really stoked being a tech guy about the gauge.
Up front here, actually kind of on the left side, the clutch side panel, you can see there's a lot of crazy design work and body lines and stuff here. This is completely the first of its kind. This gets me stoked. This is like huge progression in my opinion on snowmobiles. Last year's Skidoo had a 34-inch front end on the Expert. It had, you know, the typical Gen 4 wide body. It paneled out big time because of that wide body panel right here. As you can see, they've really done a nice job slimming this thing back. In fact, I don't think you could get this any more compact to the clutch. This is a 34-inch front end on the Expert, like I mentioned, and there is not going to be any drag of the body panel at all now. So that is going to be huge, especially for tree riding. Super cool, contained clutch system. It draws air in, vents the hot air out. It's going to keep our belt temps way down, which is something that you need to do for belt longevity on these turbos. Nice. There you go. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, of course. You're gonna take her for a little rip around the parking lot here, maybe hit a snowbank jump or something. Well, got the first face shot out of the way on the trackside snowbank, but first jump on the Gen 5, priceless. Another big change for 2023 is the track and rear suspension. So this being the Summit Expert, it's got the full width rods in the track. This is no longer a flex edge track. We're super stoked about that. We were never fans of the flex edge to begin with necessarily. Hoping this holds a side hill edge a little bit better. You'll also notice that the lugs here come out to the full width of the track as well, where the flex edge was offset a little bit. The center lug staggers back and forth from row to row, and it's got a cool different pattern here embossed into the track. T-motion is also a thing of the past with the Summit Expert. So this is a solid rear scissor. Unlike the T-motion that they ran from 2013 to 2021, we were locking out T-motion with our Raptor Ace kits to begin with. So that's going to be another sign of predictability. I think you'll notice it on a lot of climbs. And in side hilling, I don't think you're going to notice it that much because T-motion didn't really make that much of a difference anyway, in my opinion. That's a quick overview of some of the major features that are new for 2023. We're going to pull them in the shop tonight, get some shut-eye, let these things warm up, and we're coming back tomorrow with our tools to dive in. We're going to pull the plastics off, give you guys a look under the hood. We're also going to be bolting on some new parts, so that's always exciting. So we'll be right back. All right, now that we got these things into the shop, it's time to dive in and see what makes the Gen 5 so different from the Gen 4. Obviously, they look a lot different, but it's time to pull off these plastics, see what's under the hood.
Yep, let's get right to it.
Well, just like any other Skidoo, we'll probably start by pulling the side panels off here. So the side panels have a few clips on each side and a few straps as well. So this exhaust side panel, Dylan pulled one off earlier. There really isn't much to it. Super lightweight, and they've removed all the insulation from the inside. It's now right here. So that's interesting. We're gonna get into that later, focus on the hood from now, so let's go over to the clutch side panel. Now on the top here is this little oil panel. So this is one clip, it opens up, and you can fill your oil here. Your tools are also on the back. Keeping them away from the clutch compartment is awesome. There's been some concern about those falling into your clutches and causing catastrophic failure in the past, so avoiding that is always good. Moving on to the main part of the panel here. I've seen some guys that have already broken this vent in their first rides. It looks like this part right here might catch some impact, and this little edge could potentially hook on branches, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. I'm sure the aftermarket will come up with solutions for that right away too. But this panel has 5 clips, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th is a little lever right here. You push it down to unlock. There we go, so that's the entire clutch cover. They're really dialing up the venting in this. It's supposed to draw in from the top here and exhaust out the footwell. Seem to do a pretty good job of that. It's supposed to help the belt life. Clutch configuration is pretty similar to the Gen 4 from what it looks like. Still a QRS clutch, P-drive primary. Seeing that the clutches are the same, we should be able to use the same clutch kits that we've used previously. We'll have to adjust the weight and exactly what we calibrate these things to because we're making a little more horsepower with the Turbo R. But Bikeman will have a clutch kit available for this right away. So we're excited to install that. All right, so moving up onto the dash here, having a look at the gauge. Usually in past Skidoos, a lot of this stuff has come off. So I see this piece under the gauge here, this just slides back, pops out, and you've got access to your gauge plugs and your headlight plugs right here, along with the 2 main hood bolts. So that's super convenient. Same T25 as always. We got those 2 bolts out, and then it looks like the air intake is in the same position, and we've got that Phillips head screw on there, so pop that out quick. So now that hose clamp's loose, you can slide the intake hose off, and then I've got 2 more T25s to loosen on each side right up here. The last thing to do then is unplug the gauge and headlights up here. Pop out those plugs. I can feel the hood starting to move already. And then, nice. So the hood comes off in one piece like that. Still pretty heavy. There's a lot of air box in there. They do all this for sound dampening. A lot of intake noise off these things, but be nice if the aftermarket would come out with a lightweight airbox for these or something. But first look under the hood here, one thing I noticed is Skidoo's changed up the Y pipe to pipe configuration a bit with the exhaust springs. So it seems to have 4 big exhaust springs equally spaced around the outside of the can and pipe, or outside of the Y pipe and pipe. That should really help. We've been having to double up our exhaust springs previously down there, and it's really a pain to get in there when they're doubled up and get them hooked on. We were doing that because we were breaking exhaust springs and in fact stretching them out to the point where we were having exhaust leaks. That was because we had our Gen 4s tuned up and we were pushing more power through them. We're doing the same thing with the Turbo R. So that makes a ton of sense. I'm happy to see that. Another difference right off the bat is the front vent that Skidoos have had forever and ever and ever is no longer, which I think is great because that thing just got plugged up with snow anyway or got broken out usually in my case. So they relocated those vents back here behind the exhaust. I don't think you're gonna have direct airflow when you're going down the trail, but we're not really going down the trail that often on these things. So other than that, I don't notice many differences under the hood. I'm really excited though at the way that the hood comes off. It's a lot easier than past models. And when you have to pull a hood out on the mountain, you're never looking forward to it. So just making it that much easier is gonna be great. Well, that's about all I got for major changes under the hood. You can tell they've made a few small other tweaks, and I'm sure we'll find more as we go. But excited to see these refinements from Skidoo.
For sure. Well, now that Jack has shown me how to pull the hood off, I'm going to get my hood off and my plastics going. And I've got a finger throttle to throw on, so I'm going to get to that. But while we're on the controls, I'm going to show you guys some of the nuances that are going on in the handlebars and some slight changes there and why we kind of do what we do to make the sleds fit our control style. So I'm going to pull the hood off and get into this finger throttle project. As we said, the controls are like the most important thing on your snowmobile. You got to be comfortable in an aggressive, athletic position. So a couple of things that you can see that kind of just from the last year's sled here, Skidoo's kind of refined the controls in a nice way. They have a new adjustable brake lever. We've run the 3D Logic brake levers. It's really nice having that adjustment. So to see that they recognize that right from the factory is really cool. Additionally, I see that the kill switch is a little bit different. I don't know if I like it. It seems like it's gonna break. Each of us has broken every Skidoo kill switch we've ever had, so we'll see how long that lasts. You guys feel free to take a guess at how many rides till that's broken. But we have a cool little part actually that we're gonna be putting on there. You guys might have seen these around. If you haven't already, check them out. They're called race rubbers. These are awesome little pieces of rubber. They fit underneath your kill switch here and make it a momentary kill switch. So similar to like a dirt bike or anything like that, you just push it down, hold it, and it'll shut off and it comes right back up again. Great little product. We're gonna be running these on all of our sleds this year. So the next thing that we're gonna do here to the controls is actually switch this thumb throttle out for a finger throttle. It's something I did last year. I had one for a little while in 2020. personal preference thing. I ride my stand-up a lot during the summer, so it just feels much more natural. So we're gonna get rid of this. It requires pulling some wires here, and I'll show you guys as we get into it. But what's cool is we've been running these Munster finger throttles. They work on the Gen 4 and the Gen 5, so no change there. But there's another finger throttle that actually is just coming on the market now. I'd be interested to try. Building 2 mods and 907 Films. Those guys are working on some pretty cool stuff. If you guys haven't seen Building 2 Mods channel, check that out. He's got a lot of carbon fiber 3D printing stuff going on. And that's exactly what he did when developing that finger throttle. So it's a little bit smaller, looks like a trigger. Check out that stuff on his channel there. But for now, we're gonna get into this install and show you guys what all goes into it. This seems different to me. The throttle block seems different. Rather than it being like a pin that goes through here, for the flipper, there's just 2 bolts of threads that go into this main block right here. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know, just a nuance along the way here. Picking up kind of at the point of we're just about to put the throttle cable on here. One quick thing that we've been told by a few people now is sanding down the little T-post at the end of your throttle cable. Now Jack and I both snapped throttle cables last year, and I think it's to do with this T not getting the proper amount of rotation. If this finger throttle has some ice in the backside here, not allowing that T to rotate, the more times you pull it, it keeps kinking the cable, and eventually you snap it. Not a fun project, especially out on the mountain. So to prevent that, we're gonna try this sandpaper thing, and hopefully it saves us from doing that throttle cable this year. So I'm just gonna get in here with this and kind of try to round it out as much as I possibly can. So now that I have all that stuff done with the finger throttle, I'm gonna button all this stuff back up, zip tie the wires back the way that they were, and that kind of establishes what my controls are going to be like now for a while. Now, we do have more parts on the way for this stuff. We're working on some stuff behind the scenes to get the bars even more dialed in, but yeah, you guys will just have to wait to see that in a future video. So we're gonna get the hood back on it, and then it's onto the skis and showing you guys what we do there to help just take that precision to the next level.
Dudes, Jake from Raptor just texted me. He said he sent me a picture of the shipping label, so the shocks are on the way.
Sick.
Front shocks.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Sick. So one cool thing is these Gen 5s use the same front ends as what was available on the Expert last year. So fortunately, we are able to replace these just monotube KYB shocks with those Raptor Kinetic Series. That's going to be huge.
Yeah,
right
Raptor
away.
has shocks ready to go for the G5s, the fronts, they fit. It's great news, so
Yeah.
we're going to bolt them up probably in our next video, so keep an eye out for that. They are, however, working on the rear suspension now, so Skidoo changed that up a bit for 23. Raptor is making some adjustments, and they hope to have a kit out very soon, which we will be installing as well.
Yeah, the parts are starting to roll in.
It's always an interesting time of year for that reason. Like, we just got the sleds, we're getting ready to head to Idaho and hit the snow like a week from today. So lots is up in the air right now.
Yeah. So with that being said, we just have a couple more things to do on these sleds, and then we're gonna load them up, and it's time to hit the road next week. We got a pit stop to make along the way at Bike Bin and some other stuff to do, so you guys watch out for that. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump right into replace these ski rubbers. That's like one of the biggest things I think that you can change on a snowmobile right off the bat, is getting rid of those stock ski rubbers, stiffening that up so the ski doesn't have a lot of slop, and you will get a lot more precise control out of your machine.
Yeah, so if you caught our Heydays vlog, you'll see we picked up these ski rubbers from Freshies Built. These are the Sala King ski rubbers. They make them for all different models. We have no affiliation with these guys, but we ran them last year and they work really well. So I've been known to bust out several ski rubbers in a season, and one set of these lasted me. So let's throw them in and check out how they fit up with this new Gen 5 ski.
Heck yeah.
Look, Ma, no hands.
Yep, fits right in there actually, perfectly.
Moving on to the back of the sled here, there's several changes for 2023. We'll go over some of them real quick.
So the first thing that I see right off the bat is the wheelie mode is not in its proper position, so we'll just get that taken care of.
Oh yeah, you better take care of that right away.
We just permanently leave that in long. It's no longer short and long, it's precision and agile, as the foreigners say. So we're gonna put her in agile mode.
This is, for those that don't know, the remote adjustable limiter strap, which does give you some front end lift when you put it in wheelie mode, party mode.
It does for sure. And actually, we're going to be doing ZRP spindles on here, and that changes that geometry yet even a little bit more. So we might be going into the limiter strap and doing some further adjustments there. But outside of that, there's a lot more stuff going on actually in this rear skid than I think we realize. And because of that, we obviously don't have parts from Raptor. They're working on coming up with their new rear skid geometry. But right away, we have the rear scissors moved back quite a ways. So I think that'll just tame the wheelie a little bit. It does seem like, from what you can see on social media, these things are wheeling a ton anyways, so we'll see how that feels. Additionally, we have T-Motion X, which is basically like having no T-Motion at all, so it's completely locked out. We're really looking forward to that. And this new rear drop bracket. So we're not really sure how exactly that works, but it's supposed to be substantially easier to get your skid out of these things. And I'm interested to see what's all involved as we do that and replace the suspension down the road.
Yeah, it appears that they've replaced the cross shaft that usually runs along this axle with this unique drop bracket design. So there's a little through bolt on top here that I believe holds this rear scissor up. But most of your force is going to be going up into the drop bracket. Now you don't need to bolt it in from the bottom or have a through bolt, Skid, you must have realized. So they just have this small bolt to hold us up. So I believe you pop out this through bolt on each side and you can drop that rear skid right out. So that's just going to make it easier to make suspension adjustments and change out the track. It also looks like the rails have changed a little bit. Obviously, given the relocation of the scissor, the holes are going to be in a different spot. But they appear to have a slightly different design, along with a different bump stop design too. Still have our good old torsion springs.
Yeah, we'll be eliminating those, fortunately. But we do have a clicker piggyback shock back here, which is nice that they offer that on the Experts. To those of you that don't change out your suspension, that is pretty sweet to have from the factory. Also, we gotta tighten up these torsion springs for the time that we are gonna have to run them, because they're on very soft right now. But that pretty much wraps up everything in the rear skid. We'll get more into it as we install our new Raptor kits whenever those come in a future video. So stay on the lookout for that, to those of you that are curious in the Gen 5 rear suspension.
Well, just let me know if anything changes, and then will we have any luck getting on the dyno, you think?
I'll look in with Joey. I'm sure it's not an issue. I think that would definitely be a positive.
All right, Sean, well, that sounds good. We'll see you a week from today. Later.
Well, that was an awesome phone call. Sean from Bikeman just let us know that we are lined up to go there next week and tackle all the performance stuff under the hood on this thing. So we're going to be giving these things full exhausts, tunes, clutching, and probably even have the chance to put one on the dyno for the first time ever.
Bikeman Performance is on our way out west. We're about to begin a 20+ hour drive to get to our Idaho home, and they're right on the way. So we're going to stop in there. Might even make some other stops along the way, and that's going to be the beginning of this epic journey that we're going on this winter. So follow us along, you guys. We're just getting started. This is the first video of the new season, and we couldn't be more excited. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.